Carnivore dieters, listen up. I got one for you today. This cut of meat is flavorful, it's tender, and it's cheap. And you've probably never heard of it before. Let me introduce you to the Terrace Major. I'm gonna teach you all about it today. It's gonna be great. Let's go. For those of you that don't know, there's a diet out there called the carnivore diet. People on that diet go ahead and they eat only meat. I don't mean mostly meat, I mean all meat. Breakfast, meat. Lunch, meat. Dinner, meat. And while I'm not on the carnivore diet myself at this time, I am here for anyone who wants to learn more about the cow, beef, meat in general, how to cut it, how to cook it. I am here for you. In this video, I'm going to dispel some common misconceptions, some myths about the Terrace Major. I just wanted to teach you everything about it. Even if you're not on the carnivore diet, you can get a lot from this video. Let's talk a little bit about the Terrace Major. Now, it can be found in the chuck primal cut. More specifically, in the subprimal cut called the shoulder clod. Now, don't confuse that with the chuck roll, which we've done before. The shoulder clod has the Terrace Major and the flat iron in it, while the chuck roll has the Denver steak, the chuck eye steak, and the chuck roast. Those two subprimal cuts come together to form the chuck primal cut. Let's go through the pros and the cons list of the Terrace Major. On the pros side, we have that it's tender. It is the second most tender cut of meat on the entire cow. It is flavorful. Because it's found in the chuck, it has much more flavor than like a tenderloin or a muscle that doesn't get a lot of work. So it's really flavorful as well. It's also cheap. That's another great quality. We're talking $6 to $9 per pound. And it's totally versatile. You can cook it in so many ways. On our cons list, they're kind of hard to find. There's only 2 Terrace Majors on a whole cow. And they're small. It's 10 to 12 ounces per Terrace Major. So that makes it even harder to find. A lot of times butchers will just go ahead and grind the whole shoulder clod, and the Terrace Major is lost. So those are our pros and our cons to the Terrace Major. The first challenge we run into is the name. I know we're going to start from the very beginning. So the Terrace Major is kind of like the scientific muscle definition name, right? There's also, it's called the petite tender or the shoulder tender. Now, there's been a common misconception, people get this confused all the time, about the mock tender. Now the mock tender also comes out of the chuck, but it is super tough and it's much bigger than the Terrace Major or petite tender or shoulder tender. So I don't know why they make them so close together. I guess if we add tender to the name of the piece of meat, more often than not, people will think it's tender, but they are completely different. First misconception. Second challenge that we face is where to find them. Like I said earlier, they're hard to find. There's only 2 of them on the whole animal. So places where I've found them most consistently is the chef store. I'll show you how they package them here in a minute, but it is the most consistent and easiest place to find this cut of meat. If you missed one of my other videos, I did a whole store tour of the chef store. I will link it up here, but it is a great place to find big cuts of meat. The next place that I go and I can find them is my local butcher shop. So you go and you talk to them, say, I need a Terrace Major, shoulder tender, petite tender. They'll know what you're talking about. The butcher shop by my house stocks them all the time, so that it's really easy to find. Third is your local grocery store. I don't usually find them in my local grocery store, but you know what? I found one out in the wild a couple days ago at my local Publix. So they're there sometimes. Just depends on your grocery store. You can also find them online. So you can go to different online butcher shops and they will be able to send them to you. Granted, you're not going to get as much of the cost savings because they have to ship them, but it's also a good way to get that Terrace Major. If you Google it, you can also find ones that are like Wagyu or Prime. So it's a cheaper way to get into some of those more exotic, high-end grades of beef. The third question I always get is, how do I cook them? That's very simple. They do well for dry heat cooking methods, so grilling, searing and sauteing, things like that. Roasting the whole is really nice. Also, it will stand up to braising, so it's pretty lean, but it will stand up to that, and you'll be able to like shred it and slice it really nicely. It's very lean, so it also does really well with all kinds of different kinds of sauces. So if you want to get crazy, you're going to open up your French culinary textbook and go and make some delicious sauces. They also go really well with the Terrace Major. Next, we're gonna break everything out of the package. I'm gonna show you what it looks like, how to break them down, the whole nine. Let's go. All right, so here is our Terrace Major right out of the package. Again, it's gonna have a little bit of cleanup to do, but not much. Today we're gonna be using our 6-inch Butcher Wizard boning knife, available on Amazon. The link is in the description. If you've purchased one already from Amazon, thank you so much. If you go back and leave a review, it really helps out, but let's get to it. So basically we're just gonna take all these chunks of fat and just clean those up. Just trying to be as careful as possible without taking off too much of the meat. The next thing we gotta do is deal with the silver skin. So what we'll do is we'll take our knife and we'll wiggle underneath the silver skin and push through, cutting out like this, making a handle. You're gonna hold it and apply reverse pressure, and then angle your knife slightly upward and take off the silver skin. This is a great way to practice your silver skin removing skills because it's not nearly as expensive as a beef tenderloin. So, good practice for you. There's a little flap here. I like to take those off if I can. Make it look nice. We'll flip it over, do the same thing on the other side. Clean up any fat or sinew or anything. We'll go ahead and try to uncover this silver skin. If there's some chunks of fat that are on top, what I'll do is I'll turn over my knife and use the back and scrape down that silver skin. Because what that does is just allows me to get a cleaner cut when I'm going ahead and taking it off. So again, we'll wiggle underneath, cut out, make a handle, apply reverse pressure the other way, come back the other way. Shape it up, make sure we get everything so it's nice and pretty. So here we have our clean Terrace Major. It is ready to be seasoned and cooked, grilled, seared, all those things. We are ready to go. So next I want to show you how to vacuum seal these things. So we bought a big, huge package. So now we're gonna portion it out and vacuum seal it. So I've had trouble in the past with vacuum sealers. I really hate those food saver kind of like bar vacuum sealers. I never can get them to work right, and it's never worked for me. When I was in the butcher shop, we used what's called a chamber vacuum sealer, which is where you put the bag into a chamber and it sucks out all the air and seals the thing. It's super easy to use and it's pretty quick. The problem with those machines is like the ones I had at the butcher shop, they're probably $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. They weigh 200 pounds. It's supposed to stay on the table and not be moved. So it's not good for home use. Well, I found a chamber vacuum sealer for home use. So I'm very excited to share this with you. I just got it not too long ago. I've been vacuum sealing everything. So I'm gonna show you quickly how it works. There's a link in the description. It's from Wevac. They're not paying me for this, but they're gonna give you guys a 15% off discount for if you use my link, and I'll get a small commission from that. But again, they're not paying to sponsor this video. It's just a product that I found, and I reached out, and man, I'm really excited to share it with you. All right, so here we go. Very simply, we put our Terrace Major, we put it in the bag. There are these little clips inside that you go ahead and you put the bag into the little clips, okay? And then we put on here what the bag size is, put a medium bag, and then you go ahead and close the lid. It's all done. Open it up, and here is our vacuum sealed Terrace Major, and it can last in the freezer for over a year. It can last in the fridge for a month. I mean, this is how we do this when we get a big bag of these Terrace Majors and we can't eat them all at one time. This is how you do it. So I'm going to do a video coming up on the channel, maybe in a couple weeks, about a full breakdown, a full review of this vacuum sealer. But go ahead and, you know, if you're looking for one, looking for a good chamber vacuum sealer, this is really good. Go check the link in the description. If you like this video, check out the next one, Carnivore Dieters, where I go over how to break down a chuck roll. So I'm going to put the link over here, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.